I've been to my share of weddings over the years, 3 siblings, dozens of cousins, countless friends, but nothing prepared me for the moment I'd watch my only son's life implode at his own rehearsal dinner. My name is Robert Mitchell, and I'm a 52-year-old insurance adjuster from Pittsburgh. I've spent 3 decades assessing damage, calculating risk, and determining what's salvageable. But on that humid Friday evening in August, no amount of professional experience could have helped me navigate what I was about to witness. The rehearsal dinner was held at Bella Vista, an upscale Italian restaurant with a private room that overlooked the city. My son Marcus, 28, had chosen it specifically because it was where he'd had his first date with Ashley 3 years prior. He'd told me this detail at least 5 times in the weeks leading up to the wedding, his face lighting up each time like he was reliving that night all over again. Marcus had always been the romantic type, even as a kid. While his friends were collecting baseball cards, he was writing poems. While they were playing video games, he was watching old movies with his mother, my late wife, Catherine, who'd passed from cancer when Marcus was just 16. He'd inherited her sensitive soul, her capacity for deep feeling, and unfortunately, her tendency to trust too easily. Ashley seemed perfect for him. A pediatric nurse with honey blonde hair and a smile that could disarm anyone, she'd become part of our small family quickly. Her parents, Richard and Diane, were pleasant enough, wealthy, a bit formal, but warm once you got past the country club veneer. Ashley's younger brother, Tyler, was in medical school. The whole family seemed like something out of a catalogue. That evening, I sat at the head table between Marcus's best man, his college roommate Jake, and my sister Patricia, who'd flown in from Seattle. The room hummed with conversation and laughter. Soft jazz played in the background. Everything was exactly as it should be. Marcus stood to give a toast, his hand trembling slightly as he raised his champagne flute. "I just want to thank everyone for being here," he began, his voice thick with emotion. "Especially Ashley's family for welcoming me with open arms, and my dad, who's been my rock through everything." I felt my throat tighten. Watching him stand there, so full of hope and love, I saw Catherine in every gesture. God, I missed her. She should have been here for this. "Ashley," Marcus continued, turning to his fiancée, "you've made me believe in the kind of love I thought only existed in movies. Tomorrow, I get to marry my best friend, and I." That's when Ashley's phone, sitting face up on the table next to her untouched tiramisu, lit up with a text message. From where I sat, about 6 feet away at an angle, I could see the screen clearly. The contact name read Dad, and the preview text made my blood run cold. "Dad, I can't do this anymore. Meet me at the usual place in an hour. Tell Mom you're..." Ashley grabbed the phone so quickly she nearly knocked over her wine glass. Her face, which had been glowing with what I'd assumed was bridal happiness, drained of all color. She glanced around the table, at Marcus, still mid-toast, at her mother Diane, at me, and I saw something in her eyes I'd seen 1,000 times in my line of work. Panic. Pure, undiluted panic. She excused herself with a mumbled apology about needing the restroom, clutching the phone against her chest like a lifeline. Marcus, confused but ever accommodating, finished his toast with less enthusiasm than he'd started it. People clapped. People smiled. People had no idea that something had just fractured. I sat frozen, my mind racing. Dad could mean her father, Richard, who was sitting right there at the table, looking slightly puzzled but not concerned. But Ashley had left her phone on the table, visible to anyone, which meant she hadn't expected that particular message. And the message itself, "I can't do this anymore," combined with "the usual place," suggested something clandestine, something ongoing. My professional instincts kicked in. In insurance, we call it subrogation, the process of investigating the real cause of damage. I excused myself from the table, telling Patricia I needed some air. The restaurant had a small courtyard where smokers gathered. I didn't smoke, but I needed to think. Through the window, I could see Ashley in the hallway, phone pressed to her ear, her body language defensive and agitated. She was arguing with someone. "Mr. Mitchell." I turned to find Tyler, Ashley's younger brother, standing in the doorway. He was 24, sharp-featured, with nervous energy that always made him seem like he was running late for something important. Tyler, getting some air. Actually, I was looking for you. He glanced back toward the party, then stepped closer, lowering his voice. I need to tell you something, and I need you to not react visibly because people are watching. My heart hammered. Go on. Ashley's been having an affair with our father's business partner, David Callahan. He's 47, married, has 3 kids. It's been going on for about 8 months. The courtyard seemed to tilt. I gripped the railing. How do you know this? I've known for 2 months. I caught them at David's lake house. I confronted Ashley, told her she needed to end it or call off the wedding. She promised she'd end it. She swore, but he gestured back toward the restaurant. David calls her from his burner phone under the contact name Dad, so his wife won't suspect if she sees his phone, and so Ashley's phone wouldn't raise questions if someone glanced at it. Why are you telling me this now? Tyler's eyes met mine, and I saw genuine anguish there. Because I've been carrying this guilt for 8 weeks, and tomorrow my sister is going to marry your son while lying to him about the most fundamental thing in a marriage. I can't let that happen. I thought she'd do the right thing. I was wrong. Through the window, I could see Ashley returning to the table, her face now composed, a smile fixed in place. She kissed Marcus's cheek as she sat down. He beamed at her with such unguarded adoration that I felt physically ill. What do you need me to do? I asked. I don't know, Tyler admitted. That's why I'm telling you, you're his father. You know him better than anyone. I couldn't let tomorrow happen without someone knowing the truth. I watched my son through the glass, laughing at something Jake said, his arm around Ashley's shoulders, completely unaware that his world was built on lies. Catherine used to say that love makes us vulnerable, but that vulnerability is what makes us human. Looking at Marcus, I saw that vulnerability in its purest form, the choice to trust someone completely, to build a life on faith in another person's character. And I knew that what happened next would define not just this weekend, but potentially the rest of my son's life. Give me an hour, I told Tyler. I need to figure out how to do this without destroying him. But even as I said it, I knew there was no gentle way to deliver devastation. Some damage isn't salvageable, some risks you can't calculate, and sometimes love isn't enough to protect the people you care about most from the truth. Inside, someone tapped a fork against a glass, calling for another toast. The party continued, oblivious, and I stood there in the courtyard, an insurance adjuster who'd spent his career assessing damages, now faced with the impossible task of protecting my son from the greatest loss of all, the death of belief in the person you love most. Tomorrow was supposed to be the happiest day of Marcus's life. Tonight, I had to decide whether to let him have that day or save him from a lifetime of lies.